Okay, imagine this. You witness a crime. You see the person's face crystal clear. You are absolutely 100% certain you could pick them out of a lineup. But what if that unshakable memory is just completely wrong? And what if your certainty could send an innocent person to prison for life? Today, we're diving into the really strange and often heartbreaking world of eyewitness memory, where what you see isn't always what actually happened.
This quote, this is from Jennifer Thompson. She was a rape victim who identified a man named Ronald Cotton as her attacker. I mean, you can hear it in her words. Her confidence was absolute. It's the kind of testimony that seems completely bulletproof. And yet, she was wrong. After more than 10 years in prison, Ronald Cotton was completely exonerated by DNA evidence. The man Jennifer was so certain about was innocent. This case is just this gut punch of a reminder of a devastating truth. Confidence does not equal accuracy.
Now, you might be thinking the Ronald Cotton case is just a rare, tragic fluke, but it's not. It actually points to a really deep, systemic flaw in how our justice system relies on what people say they saw. According to the Innocence Project, they're the group that works to free wrongfully convicted people, eyewitness misidentification played a role in over 60% of cases that were later overturned by DNA evidence. Let that sink in. Over 60%. That is a staggering number. In fact, it makes eyewitness error the single leading cause of wrongful convictions in the United States. So, what is going on here? How does this happen so often? Well, the root of the problem is a huge, fundamental misunderstanding of how our memory actually works. It's a terrifying thought, isn't it? How can a memory feel so vivid, so true, and yet be completely false? The answer really starts with this common myth we all kind of believe in, the myth of the perfect video camera memory. A survey from a few years back revealed something really fascinating about what we think our memory is. A whopping 63% of people believe the human brain works just like a video camera, accurately recording events that we can just play back later. But science tells a very, very different story. See, our memory isn't a recording device at all. It's a reconstructive process. Think of it less like replaying a video and much more like assembling a jigsaw puzzle every single time you remember something. And every time you put that puzzle together, pieces can get lost, distorted, or even swapped out with pieces from a totally different puzzle. So let's look at exactly how those puzzle pieces can get so mixed up, often without us having any clue that it's even happening. There are a few key psychological phenomena at play here. First up is something called the misinformation effect. This is basically when new, incorrect information comes along and contaminates your original memory of an event. And it can come from anywhere, a leading question from an officer, a news report you see, or even just a casual conversation with another witness. A classic study by the memory expert Dr. Elizabeth Loftus shows this perfectly. She showed people a video of a car at a stop sign. Simple enough, but later she asked them a misleading question that mentioned a yield sign. And guess what? When asked to recall what they saw, many of them confidently remembered seeing that yield sign, a sign that was never there. The new information just overwrote the original memory. Okay, another major factor is called source misattribution. You might also hear it called unconscious transference. And it's when your brain takes a memory, like a face, from the right context and just plops it into the wrong one. You remember the detail perfectly, but you get the source completely mixed up. So, for example, a witness might see an innocent bystander at the crime scene. Later on, in a police lineup, that bystander's face feels familiar. The brain, struggling to figure out why it's familiar, can make a huge mistake and connect that familiarity to the crime itself. And just like that, you have a confident but totally false identification. So, our memories can be contaminated after the fact, but it gets even more complicated. Our brains also have these built-in biases that affect what we even notice and store into memory in the first place. One of the most powerful of these is the weapon focus effect. When there's a weapon present during a crime, a witness's brain naturally just zooms in on the threat. It's a survival instinct. But that intense focus on the weapon means way less attention is paid to other details, like the person's face, their clothes, or their voice. And then there's the cross-race effect, which is a really robust and well-documented finding in psychology. This is our tendency to be much better at recognizing and telling apart faces of our own race compared to faces of other races. And the data on this is really striking.
Studies show people are 1.5 times more likely to misidentify someone of a different race. Now, this is really crucial. This isn't about conscious prejudice. It's a deep-seated cognitive bias in how our brains are wired to process and categorize faces. So, okay, we've got reconstructive memory, misinformation, source confusion, weapon focus, cross-race bias. It all sounds pretty grim, doesn't it? But there is some good news here. The very same science that highlights all these vulnerabilities in our memory also gives us a clear roadmap for how to actually fix the problem and make eyewitness testimony much, much more reliable. So, how do we fix this? Science points to a few key reforms. First, trust the first test. A witness's memory is purest right at the beginning, before it can get contaminated. So that very first lineup is the most reliable one. Next, conduct blind lineups. This is simple but so powerful. The officer running the lineup doesn't know who the suspect is. That prevents them from giving off any unintentional clues. And finally, educate the jury. We need to allow memory experts in court to explain all these things, so jurors can understand that a confident witness isn't always an accurate one.
Ultimately, it all comes down to this really powerful idea from forensic neuropsychologist Dr. Scott Fraser. That feeling of certainty, that vividness we feel when we recall a memory, it's a terrible indicator of how accurate that memory actually is. We all instinctively believe that our most confident memories are our most accurate ones. It just feels right. But the science shows that's just not true. It's a really sobering thought that forces us to question the very nature of what we think we know. So the next time you feel absolutely certain about a memory, it might be worth taking a pause and just remembering it could just be a puzzle your brain put together.